You're not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From DG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, C. Wall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's C-Wall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am. Through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. See all that we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coaching from the Couch. This is your Washington Commanders update, and I am your host, C. Wall. I see everybody is checking in, and I believe the very first comment I saw was from my mama. So y'all have to go on here and make sure you comment in the chat. Hey, Mrs. Waller, how are you? Hey, Candy's mama, because of course, moms is always going to be checking in. I want to make sure you all are tagging in your fave Washington Commanders fans. It's time to get with it. It's time to get going. We have a lot of updates, and I guarantee you do not want to miss any of them. Okay, so make sure you are all checking in. I see Joy has locked in, so she's already ready to go in the show and in the chat. I think I saw a question asking if I was rapping no, that is not me rapping. That is another rapper extraordinaire from the area, Heronis. That is not Seawall rapping in that song. I see Mike Lyles has checked in, my godmother, Cameron Mingo. Listen, you all, make sure you're tagging folks in, because this is for sure going to be a content-filled 30 minutes. We absolutely want to get through the recap of the first preseason game. So that is big, that is huge, and I want to make sure, because I always have to share this as a reminder. I see you all already hitting the love button, so that's amazing. Continue to hit the love button, continue to share with your favorite fellow Washington Commanders fans that you want to have this live discussion with, for your opportunity to have your comment or question up on the screen, included in the show. Okay, and listen, I have to put this up here. This is a live Bowie television recording, so as I just mentioned, you want all your folks joined in the conversation for a chance to get your excellent comments and your fantastic questions on the screen for the television viewing audience. So you all, first preseason game has come and gone. The way that we're going to go ahead and do this show, so that you know exactly what the lineup is, we're going to go through a recap. That's about a good 5 or 6 minutes recap of the preseason game, inclusive of some post-game pressers. And we're going to come back and have a conversation. And of course, I want to talk to you all about some of the great things that you saw and some of the things that you're like, not so great. So Washington Commanders fans, go ahead and hit that love button again, or place a fire emoji in the chat so that we can get going with the game recap, brought to you by Bowie Television's Darrell Owens. So let's go ahead and get started with this game recap, you guys.
unfortunately had some fumble issues, lost the ball today. Curious just your take on that. And
he's got to run hard.
Series, was that
no, Antonio's got to run hard. You know, when he starts to shuffle and go sideways, that's when he struggles. Okay, so when he goes hard, and we saw that when he came back in the second half, he put his shoulder down and ran hard. That's what he's capable of doing. That's when he's at his best. So we talked about that, and very pleased with the way he came back in the second half and ran the ball.
Carson Wentz, you said you liked what you saw from the offense. Yep. What about him in particular?
Well, I thought he threw the ball well. I thought he threw it where he was supposed to. He threw a very catchable ball and delivered it on time. I thought he went through his progressions the way he needed to. Thought he handled the huddle well. Thought he got the calls out. And did the things that we hoped he would do.
I know you have to go back and watch the tape, but was there anything you noticed at first, like, because it's a game situation, a little bit different from practice, good or bad?
Yeah, I thought it was different from practice. I mean, I thought, our offensive line protected him, gave him a chance to throw the ball, and he did. He threw the ball effectively.
Curtis Hodges and Armani Rogers got a lot of run at tight end. What did you make of their afternoon?
I thought they did a hell of a job. For two young guys to come in and basically play a whole game, and you got to give Eli a little credit too. Brought him in about a week ago, and he's done a heck of a job picking it up, learning it, and three guys come in and basically play the whole game. That's a hell of an effort, and it was good to see. I mean, these young guys got to learn, got to understand, and they did a nice job.
St. Juice, I think you said a couple days ago, was going to play, and then he was added to the injured list. Was there some sort of
hamstring got tight? So we just wanted to be smart. We're not going to put a guy out there and expose him, in the preseason, a guy that, we're counting on to come along and play for us. So it tightened up after Thursday's practice. He came in on Friday, and it was sore. Then we went back, looked at his GPS numbers, and they were over 21. So that meant he was running fast.
Sam Howell, how did you think he did?
I thought Sam did a nice job. He played like he did in college. I mean, this is a guy that very smart, got a very good arm, very athletic, runs well with the ball. He's a guy that, the more he learns, the better he's going to become, and I think he's a guy that has a bright future.
Any of the guys stand out to you in a positive way that maybe you didn't notice as much during camp?
No, I think the guys that we anticipated to step up did. I will say this, though, for the second unit on defense, when they got out there, the speed they were a little surprised. And that was something we talked about just a moment ago. I talked to them, told the young guys, hey, the speed is different. When it's for real, it's different. And I think it caught a couple of them by surprise. I'm be quite honest, I'm anxious to watch the tape see how some of those guys did. But my perception was that I thought the speed got a couple of them.
A little bit offensively for one. Slower start, unfortunately. But I thought that third drive was good for us to kind of get out there, stay on the field, convert some third downs, finish in the end zone like that. So as far as that went, I thought that was okay. Obviously, a loss is never fun, but I thought there was a lot we can learn from on both sides of the ball that were good for us.
You got some targets to Chris Samuel today. How do you think he looks?
He looks great. I mean, he's explosive. I mean, everybody knows that. He's explosive. He's dynamic with the ball in his hand, and I thought he looked good today. I thought he looked good, and I'll see the tape and all that, but I've seen it in camp. I've seen how he is and how quick twitch he is and explosive he is with the ball in his hand, so it was good for him to get out here and good for me to kind of feel that and start developing that chemistry in a game with not just him but all the guys.
This is probably a different group of tight ends than you guys were expected to go into the season. How do you think the group would change?
Hard to say. Totally hard to say. I thought early on, obviously getting them involved was cool. There was a couple plays in a row there. Armani got the ball. But no, I think all of them have done a great job of just, as these other guys have gone down, just stepping up. They're getting a ton of reps in practice, a ton of opportunities, and the game today was no different. So I thought they did a good job stepping up, and we'll see the tape and see how they did. But I thought they did a good job.
So there's always that balance in the preseason of trying to have some success versus not showing too much.
Yep.
And in your case, with the new team also, how do you think you guys kind of walk that line?
Yeah, I thought Coach did a great job. I thought there was yeah, you're always trying to toe that line. And for one, coach calls the plays. So we just go out there and try and execute them as best we can. So I think coach did a good job with that, and just understanding his demeanor, his personality, how he sees the game has been really fun for me throughout the offseason and then into training camp as well. So just seeing that in-game kind of experience, moving pieces, moving things around, seeing how he likes the flow of the game with him, I thought was cool to kind of get that long drive to kind of experience that a little bit.
So the Commanders did not come away with a preseason win, and that's okay, right? Before I get into the next video on a topic we must discuss, I definitely want to answer the question that came through in the chat. I believe from Eric Jessup. And that question was, did I think that Carson Wentz looked comfortable in the game? And let me say this. I think he may have, I mean, just like anyone else that I may have picked up, a couple of vibes from, may have had some first preseason game jitters. I think so, but I think it was just that. And I see Darrell is on, and so he was absolutely on the field the entire game to get all these amazing shots and footage that he did. If you haven't seen it, it's all throughout the Seawall Sports page, so you can check that out. But I think it was preseason jitters, if that. Carson is a leader. He's used to being a leader. I mean, he came out of that tunnel confident. Like I said, maybe preseason jitters, maybe first couple snaps jitters, but other than that, I think he was okay and he flowed in just fine. I will continue to take some more questions, but first things first, let's get to the issue. Let's get to my biggest issue. Let's get to the thing that made me say, oh my goodness. And that is Antonio Gibson fumbling the football. This was something that I talked about a lot last season. Absolutely mentioned it. And I have mentioned a certain player so much to you all that I went back and I pulled the draft, the Coaching from the Couch, Washington Commanders draft recap show. And I pulled this clip. And this clip is all I have to say about this particular topic. Wonder why don't we? Now, let me tell y'all something. Okay, now wait a minute. Now, some folks might have said, what are they doing with a running back? Now, let's dive into this a little bit. Now, Coach Rivera was like, I think you all are really going to like what Brian is going to bring along with JD and AG. I almost forgot his name. Antonio Gibson. And here was something that was big on this one. Okay? Something that was huge that I think people need to know and watch out for and keep your eyes on. What was impressive to me was the fact that Brian has gained about 800 plus yards after contact. Ron Rivera was real clear on noting that. Okay? 800 plus yards after contact. Another thing that is noted, and I'm seeing this comment in the chat, and I want to acknowledge this, okay? Because you all know on the show, all season long, I'm gonna give Antonio credit where it's due. But those fumbles, that was an issue. A telling thing about Brian Robinson Jr., I'm gonna call it by his whole name, Brian Robinson Jr., 0 fumbles, 0. 800 plus yards after contact, 0 fumbles. Strong, fast, a lot of great feedback on Brian, his work ethic and character as well. That's the pick where your girl C. Wall said, okay, I see what you did there, Ron. And I like that. I like that because, hey, listen, everybody likes AG, but all that fumbling, hey, that wasn't cool at all. More to come and more to be seen, right? But that's a good sign. And it's also letting me know, and I hope it lets you all know as well, that those fumbles did not go unnoticed. Okay? Is everybody here with me? Give me a love button or a fire emoji if you get what I'm saying. Now everybody hold on to the football, and then hey, all I'm saying is I'm good with it. Because it was key moments that a fumble, it was some moments. I'm not trying to rehash last season, but we do have to go through each one of these picks. Okay. Those fumbles happened in very critical moments. Yes, he got over 1,000 yards, but imagine just how much better things would have gone if he only had 3 fumbles versus 6. That's all I'm saying. 800 plus yards after contact shows how tough and physical Brian is. And I'm staying on this pick because I liked it a whole lot. So I'm not, hey, after contact, 0 fumbles. Now let me calm down, because then I'm going to be seeming like I'm getting a little excited. And perhaps I am, maybe I am a little bit about that one. But we do have to move on. Listen, and we did have to move on just like we do this evening. I told y'all. Okay? I research, I investigate, I try to make sense out of every single thing. And now you all see what myself, Darrell, and others have been seeing since May about Brian Robinson Jr. and what was being discussed about the fumbles. Now, if this is a real game, regular season game on Saturday, exactly what we've seen Antonio Gibson do is what he did. You fumble over in the red zone, you fumble in a moment that results in a touchdown, a score by the opposing team. And let me just tell you, because you get out there and you get to, really watch people and see their character, and they're all really good people. And I'm not certain on the television version of the game, but AG was very disappointed in himself. It was obvious. Of course, he was upset. He was very disappointed. He can't fumble anymore. And I'll just leave that there. He just should not, because you fumble at a moment like that. You see Brian Robinson come out with the ones, as he has all training camp. Let's just make that very clear. And he scores. And the running back room is very strong. It's a strong room. So, hey, work through that fumble issue. And wow, because Antonio Gibson is solid. He's good, but there is a challenge there with the fumbling. And hey, teams know that about him, right? But with a think not fumbling Antonio Gibson, coupled with J.D. McKissick, everybody has seen now what Brian Robinson can do. We're seeing again what Jared Patterson contributes. Jonathan Williams is another name that I have been bringing up as of late, because he is progressing steadily throughout camp. He's good. Great running back room. Great. So The question here I see you, Tina Moore. Want to say hello to you. He been with the ones. You say, has he lost his job? I mean, well, hey, listen, Brian Robinson has consistently been with the ones. They've been rotating. They've been seeing things happening all around because they're trying to figure it out. And if you watch the preseason game, as soon as Antonio fumbled, he had to come out the game, and B Rob went in. You saw J.D. McKissick was still at his snap count. Brian Robinson went in. AG went back out with the twos. So there's something you just got to keep on watching that. I, just like everyone else, wants to see Antonio Gibson do very well. But I have been saying it since the draft recap on May the 2nd. I have been saying it on Fox Sports 1340. I have said it on Locked On Commanders. I have been saying it. Brian Robinson. So we shall see. We shall see what else is going to happen there. I want to bring up something that is flying under the radar, but it needs to be discussed, and I want to bring it up. Special teams is not visibly showing any improvements. That is still a position group. That is still a key area and an opportunity to get excellent field position in games, even potentially score. And the team seems to still not have who their returner is going to be, and still not appearing to be that strong. Preseason game 2 will show a lot. It will absolutely show a lot. But I have my eyes on special teams, and I keep my eyes on that because it's key. I think there needs to be some more that happens with that group and some improvements there, because the team needs to at least try to get some better field position to start out strong in their possession for certain. I've seen so much, and you all let me know some other things that you witnessed and everything. I mean, yeah, that was the big thing. I'll have to say, for me, that was the big thing. It was AG fumbling that football, and I was like, oh. And some of us even said it. Some of the media even said it. We were like, woo, if Brian Robinson goes in here and scores a touchdown, ooh. And that's what happened. Or goes out here and scores a touchdown in front of everybody, because we've been saying it. So let's see what else. Let's talk about something. Mazdak is still on, and Mazdak shared something with me, and I have seen the name Sam Howell come up quite a bit. So I don't know if you all can really see this, right? While we still got a couple of moments, because Sam Howell was another big name. And drop in the chat some other names you didn't hear talked about widely, but what you really enjoyed from the first preseason game. And I'll try to share some of those comments that you all have. So PFF Gurus, and you can't really see this. Basically, what this chart is displaying are the passing grades and efficiency for the younger quarterbacks, right? So as you can see, Sam Howell, you can see the W, it's a little bit to the left of the screen, which gives him a very low score for preseason passing grades, okay? It's low. And so I want to share the reasoning, because this is important, because this is context, right? And I talked a little bit about this earlier today with a few folks, and I even mentioned this to Mazdak, right? But a lot of the questions on the lower grade for Howell here, and they said they logged him with 2 turnover-worthy throws, right? And that's going to lower your passing grade. These are all analytics. But the key point is neither ended up in an actual interception, right? And that this is the passing grade only. Of course, PFF had him rated much higher with the rushing grade. Okay, so I wanted to bring this up, and here's why. I wanted to provide that additional context. That's one reason why. Another reason is that I believe that Sam was well aware that some of those were very questionable. Exactly why, exactly what the analytics are stating. It was questionable, right? When he had those moments of question throws, question passing, even though they didn't end up in an interception, he was still able to do what? Use his legs. They were able to adjust, and he was able to use his legs. When one thing ain't working, you go to the other. And it wasn't even that it wasn't working. It just was questionable. So I think that is key to remember. Okay. And we'll try to bring in some of those analytics and some of those conversations, and I'll provide additional context and dialogue around the numbers and what that means and what some key takeaways should be then. Okay. The passing grade looks a little questionable, but then you use your legs to do what? Get 2 touchdowns. All right. So, hey, I also shared on Locked On Commanders. Shout out to Dave Harrison and Chris Russell when Dave asked me on one of the episodes last week, 2024, who is the quarterback of this team? And I said Sam Howell. Listen, there's a lot of hype around Sam. I get it. We've seen it. I've talked about it before. I've shared with other people before. Hey, listen, okay. But I don't think Sam is this year's quarterback. But future, absolutely. Absolutely. But not today. Not this year. Who knows? I could be wrong because I like him a lot. Let's be very clear. I like Sam Howell a lot. But it's good to see certain things and know that he's in a position where he can develop. So if we're talking 2024 season, that's not even next year's, the year after that. Commanders are in good shape, for sure. I'm trying to see, and thank you, Barbara, for this compliment. I absolutely appreciate that. Thank you so much. I feel like I saw a comment about Armani Rogers. I believe I brought up Armani last week. I've been talking about the tight end group. Still feel great about the tight end group, but they're going through so many injuries right now, which saddens me. But it was great to see Curtis Hodges and Armani Rogers get that playing time. They played pretty much the whole game, exactly what Coach said in the presser. So, we'll see what happens. Cole Turner, I believe, will be back next week. Still waiting to see what happens with John Bates, and everyone knows that Logan Thomas is out. I believe Samis Reyes is now dealing with an injury. So more to come, more to be seen. Preseason game 2 coming up. Kansas City. I believe Kansas City will approach this preseason game like it's the Super Bowl, more than likely. At least when the starters are playing. They're going to be playing, right? Really playing, probably really game planning. So this is the game that I'm going to say, okay, either I like it or I love it or I don't like it at all. So I will be watching very closely. Was watching very closely this past weekend. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Cornelius Lucas is back. And so that's good news for the offensive line. I don't expect for the defensive line to do too much, to show too much at this point in time, but you never know what may happen in preseason game 2. I know a lot of folks were very excited about Stephen Parker on the defensive back side of the position groups in the defense side of the football. So we'll see. We shall see. And we're going to keep tracking everything and keep watching everything. And then you all can, of course, join the page and share your comments so that you can get on the live television recording. We are at our time. Can you believe it? Already at our time for this show. You all stay locked in to the Seawall Sports and Entertainment pages. Stay locked into Bowie Television. Always more to come. You all, always more to come. And I'm seeing that comment about Parker hitting everything moving. That yes, he was. Yes, he was. So that was the kind of surprise player for me from preseason game 1. Okay, so you guys stay locked in. Check in on Thursdays for the live television recording of Coaching from the Couch, the weekly DMV Sports Update. And then we'll be back next week with the Commanders update, and so on and so forth. Okay, you all listen, be safe, and I'll be talking to you guys again soon.
You're not on the field or ice. You're on the couch. From DG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, C. Wall. Delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's C-Wall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, picking any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. See all that we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.